Hello, my friends and Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Thank you for joining me once again. And so, I feel like this video is one of the most important videos to get across to everyone exactly what is pretty much right in front of us. And I've talked about these things before, although a lot of them have been before there were so many people in our Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So I want to bring up these topics once again. And so you're looking at actually a really well done scene from George Washington's vision. And in case you're not familiar with it, legend has it, and it is documented in some sources, that Washington had a vision when he was crossing at Valley Forge. And basically he saw the challenges that were going to be lying ahead of the country, the United States. And he saw both, what was going on in the Revolutionary War, but he also saw the Civil War rise up, and he saw the world wars that were to come. And nothing in his vision compared to the last war. And that was a war in which the United States would be struck and attacked and invaded. And this is the greatest tribulation that he saw. There are so many prophecies out there from so many different people that have seen this. Nostradamus has seen World War III. Edgar Cayce has seen World War III. Baba Vanga. It goes on and on and on. And we'll get into a few more at the end. But let's look at some actual literal numbers. And let's look at some actual things that are put down as projections, as projected facts, which we've talked about a little bit before, but I have so much more detail for you guys, and I'm completely convinced this is what's coming. Unless we can act to get the powers that be basically out of power very fast, because this is what they have planned for us. And so this is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is NATO. And so NATO member countries are listed right here. And so we have 29 NATO countries that are listed. And now when we look at the projections that are given for the populations of these countries from Deagle.com, and I've brought up Deagle before, and for those of you that might be like, well, I've already heard this, listen. Trust me, listen. This is important because I've spent hours putting this info together for you guys. And who is Deagle? Well, before I show you the info, let me just give you who Deagle is. It's a real intelligence organization for the U.S. government. And they predict basically what's going to be a massive depopulation. Specifically, with the info I'm going to give you now, it shows you exactly what's going to happen. And this is what they truly are predicting. Who are part of Deagle's partners and clients? The NSA, NATO, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OSCE, the Russian Defense Procurement Agency, Stratfor, the World Bank, the UN. This highly regarded intelligence organization has a very grim outlook, for sure. So let me get into the numbers for you guys to see, because what they have is, well, let me pull this up too. There's just so much I want to show you guys. So if you look at Deagle, they're all about what's going on in the world. So they cover everything militarily, only militarily. They're interested in just military things. India says its nuke missile carrying submarine is now fully operational. And so they give you a link and you could go and you could see what's going on with it. Sputnik News over here. So some of the links that you will follow off of Deagle will take you to things like this. Russia's new nuclear and other deterrents ensures strategic balance for decades to come. Vladimir Putin unveils underwater Poseidon drone that carries nuclear warheads capable of causing 300-foot tsunamis. That's scary stuff, and that's stuff that we're seeing a lot of and before you get over there. So you can see all these links. It's all about military things that are happening. And they themselves, basically all the info comes from the Department of Defense and the CIA, as well as all these other sources that they're constantly scouring and seeing what is happening. So when we look at Deagle, and we get the numbers from their site of population projections. This is all from their site. These are the NATO countries, and this is the population now, population 2025. Albania, 3.1 million now, 2.8 million in 2025. They're going to lose 300,000 people, according to their projections. These are all NATO countries again. Belgium is going to lose 2.9 million people. Bulgaria is going to lose 1 million people. Canada is going to lose 10 million people. Croatia is going to lose 500,000 people. The Czech Republic is going to lose 1.1 million people. Denmark is going to lose 1.8 million people. Estonia, they're going to go from 1.3 million to 932,000. And so they're going to lose 367,000 people. France, their population is 67 million now. They're going to be 39 million. They're going to lose 28 million people. Germany, one of the biggest losses, 81 million, down to 28 million. They're going to lose 53 million people. And this is by 2025. This is within 7 years. They're projecting this. You got to be asking yourself, what could cause this? Well, keep looking. Greece, 11 million down to 8.1 million. They're going to lose 2.9 million. Hungary is going to lose 500,000 people. Iceland, 143,820. Italy, going from 62 million to 44 million. They're losing 18 million people. Little Latvia loses 100,000 people. Lithuania loses 100,000 people. Luxembourg loses 395,000 people. They lose, more than half of their population. Montenegro loses 45,797 people. The Netherlands is the only country that does not lose people in NATO for whatever reason. Norway loses 1.5 million. Poland, 5 million. Portugal, 2.9 million. Romania, 1 million. Slovakia, 300,000. Slovenia, 300,000. Spain, 49 million people down to 28 million. They're going to lose 21 million people. Turkey loses 9 million people. The United Kingdom goes from 66 million people to 15 million people. That's huge. They're losing 3/4 of their population. And the United States goes from 327 million people to 100 million people. That they're losing 227 million people. And some people have said, no, that's the amount that they're going to lose. But no, it's what the total population is, because they give you the figures and they show you people per square mile. So when you times the people per square mile times the population, the area, and you get the population now and you get the population then in 2025. So it's not talking about how many people are going to be reduced. It's talking about the total population. And so I've explained that several times before. So your total NATO losses are 437,632,407 people. Japan, these are just other notable countries that would probably be allied and probably attacked as well. Japan goes from 126 million to 103 million, so they lose 23 million people. Israel, 8.3 million to 4.3 million. They lose 4 million people, half the population. Saudi Arabia, 29 million to 25 million, so they lose 5 million people. South Korea goes from 51 million to 37 million. They lose 14 million people. So is this natural disasters, or is this really World War III? Is this a sneak attack, World War III? Or is it natural disasters? Well, China stays the same, 1.4 billion people, 1.4 billion. Russia stays the same, 142 million, 142 million. India, 1.3 billion, 1.3 billion. Brazil, 207 million, they increased to 210 million. And you find that there's an increase in some of the Central American and South American countries, probably from people that leave, because they have a foreshadowing and they know what's going to happen. Iran, 82 million, 82 million. So no, it's not natural disasters that they're looking at, because they don't really look at that. All they are concerned with is military things, military numbers. So this really only shows one thing. This shows a sneak attack on the U.S. and on its NATO allies that is so devastating that it basically, there's no strike back. It's pretty much game over as soon as it happens. And that's really the only way you could look at this. So when you look at the countries, here's all the info on the countries. As I was saying, surface, right? 9.6 million square kilometers. Density, 34 inhabitants per square kilometer. You times these together, you get 327 million. If you look at the forecast right here, 10 inhabitants square mile, and you go by the actual square miles again, then you end up getting the same number. So it's not about how many people are going down. It's about total population. And if you check some countries too, that might not be involved as well. Like you could go look at some in different areas, and you might see small declines, and that's probably due. It could be Earth. Well, it's not going to be Earth related, so it's probably still due to war, due to places where there's military bases. As you know, the United States militarily was in 90% of the countries in the world last year. So it's a very, very telling thing. It's the only way you could take these numbers. So it's very curious. So if the powers that be know this, why aren't they doing anything about it? Are they doing anything about it? Or is the U.S. and NATO going to be just a sacrificial lamb, a blood sacrifice? We could see what's happening, you know, and all these, like this one, take this one, capable of causing 300-foot tsunamis underwater. You wouldn't see that coming, really. So there's a lot of new tech that's coming out, and that hypersonic attack system that just went online by the Russians as well. Realize that just like the powers that be, just like they control the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and they don't really care about either of those parties, they just use them. They also control a lot of the sides here, as far as, if not all of the sides, as far as the political leadership. So it's all a matter of what strings they want to pull in order to make out the desired outcome. And we know we're in for a population cull, and they've always liked to use war as that. Plus it makes them profits. There's a lot of profits in war. So it seems to me to be extremely obvious, as Deagle is all about weaponry and military. Yeah, it's completely, they're not talking about earth changes here. This is all they're concerned with. And there's other sources too that are coming through that are going to be pointing to the same thing. And I have a separate video I'm going to make on that I just received information today from a source about, and just kind of confirming what I've been feeling instinctively. And so there'll be a separate video for that I'm going to do today as well. And I'm keeping some of these videos separate now because there's some people that just want earth changes, and then there's some people that, you know, want the consciousness and that are looking to look into other things, and other people want warnings on all fronts. They want to be kept up. So, you know, if there's any particular topics, like I did a video on the divine feminine, and you know, those things are very important to me too. So I don't want to just stop doing those type of videos. So, you know, I'm going to put out videos that, you know, some people might not be interested in, and that's fine. Just don't watch those videos. And I want to keep everybody as informed as they could possibly be with all the things that are coming. Albert Pike, you know, the 1871 plan, he envisioned 3 world wars to be followed by an unparalleled economic disaster. Pike's plans have come to fruition, and this is 1871 that this was on, you know, documented talking about 3 world wars, and they've come exactly, the first 2 have come exactly as he said. And, he was an insider who had insider knowledge into what the Illuminati, the Cabal, were planning. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. Think about it. They use political ideologies in order to manipulate us. They use religious ideologies in order to manipulate us. So the divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to make this war happen. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel and Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christianity, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. So again, they're using all the political systems, they're using the religions as well. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained physical, moral, spiritual, and economic to exhaustion in every single way. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obligated to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. And so there you have it. And again, they just use one system after another to destroy and to keep control. And that's basically their plan. And we talked about Washington's vision and all. And obviously, Bible prophecy as well. And this is interesting. Upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great. Revelation 17:15. Babylon the Great, make America great again. Key word. Does that mean that the time frame that we are in is the time when Babylon the Great gets taken out? Make America great again. It's interesting that that word pops up, isn't it? Babylon the Great, the most wicked city in the world, will be destroyed in 1 hour, as we see with George Washington's vision. And if you really look at the prophecy, she's surrounded. She's the queen of the maritime ocean, and her system engulfs the entire world. So it could only be one country, obviously. It could only be one power. The United States, as we said, is in 90% of the countries of the world militarily. This is the biggest empire the world has ever known. And, when you put NATO in with it. And it's been basically used, totally used, by the Illuminati and the Cabal. And they're ready to discard it now. They're ready to do their blood sacrifice. And that is what is in the plans. Because with the U.S. and NATO wiped out, then they're going to have a real totalitarian, out in the open regime led by China. Really, the power is going to China. And that's what they're going to use to, basically put in their new system. That's what their new plan is. And, you know, like in China, you know, prisoners, if they need an organ, they just simply go take it from a prisoner and give it to a party member who happens to need a kidney or a liver. So that's kind of where we're heading, you know, into that system. This is what they want to bring about. And so there's warnings that have come to me from different sources saying there still is time for us to change this, but the time is completely running out. It's getting to be at that critical point. And so we really need our complete focused prayers, energy. We need to manifest positive change as soon as possible. We have to get these people out of power. We have to do whatever we can to change the system. We need to call our troops back. You know, who has been calling for that? Like in the United States, both Ron and Rand Paul have been talking about we need to bring the troops back. We need to stop being a warmongering society. So, I mean, we need to get behind whoever it is that is going to bring about an end to the ceaseless war. Because, yes, NATO does have Russia completely circled. And you could see that there's so much goading and instigation going on, and there's so much nation building that's been going on for so long now, decades. And we've seen our rights being totally eroded, you know, after 9/11 with Homeland Security. And we see, you know, the Big Brother mentality, and we're completely encircled by Big Brother as well. They monitor every single move. And so, you know, Mother Earth, and however you want to view it, the energies that are out there are going to try to counteract this in so many ways, because the system needs to be flushed. It needs to be completely eradicated. And, you know, the poisoning of the earth that keeps going on at an unprecedented level, no wonder we're having all these earth changes. And part of it that I'm getting from sources is that a lot of this is actually definitely Cabal Illuminati driven. A lot of the earth changes that we are seeing are not actually coming from the earth itself, but being manufactured on purpose. And there is new technology that is coming out that is specifically is going to be aimed at people that are awake, intuitive, have their pineal glands functioning, are in tune with the higher sources. Because people like that, and that's a lot of people here on this family and in this channel, you're a threat, and so they're going to be targeting you. So I'm going to go into bigger detail in the next video that I do, unless something super major comes up, in which case it'll be the second video I do. But I needed to get this message out to you guys, because when we're talking about where's a safe place, and 74% of my viewers are in the United States, and we're trying to talk about what's a safe place in the U.S., the honest answer is the way things are at the moment, no place in the U.S. is safe. No place in the U.K. is safe. No place in Germany is safe. No place in any of the NATO nations is safe. And that's truly what I feel right now. And that's why I feel like I have not been able to get from Spirit or God, however you want to term it, where to go, for sure. Because every time I feel like I settle in on an area, I always get a feeling coming back that says no, that's not it. And then I settle in on a different area, and then it comes back to me, no. And there's more info I'm going to give to you again on that other video, because I know I have a definitive time frame in which to get out of here now. Or at least be aware that there are things coming to be very aware of shortly. So I'll end this video on that note, and this is one I hope you guys will really look at in depth and take seriously. And again, we need to do whatever we can to wake each other up, to wake up as many people as possible. As always, my friends, please thumbs up to support the channel. Please do share with as many people as possible. I'm being blocked from sharing in certain circles now, so please pick up the slack. Because, yeah, I definitely am getting blocked and getting a lot more pushback from many places. So share as much as possible, and subscribe and click the button the bell if you have not subscribed yet. I'm wishing you guys peace, love, abundance, happiness. May you guys be all guided to where you need to be to keep yourself, to keep your families safe. May you be so attuned to God and the higher sources, the spirits, whatever you want to view it as. May light, love, well-being, and safety follow you all your days and all of your families and loved ones' days. Namaste, my friends, and God bless.